process, you're here for the right reasons. Mozart wrote many symphonies in his head while playing billiards. That's what they tell us. Beethoven struggled with his sketches until he was satisfied. Gershwin's pen could barely keep pace with his imagination. Stravinsky said that a composer's best friend is the eraser. In today's program, I will introduce you to a number of composers drawn from the Western art music canon. And we're going to address some questions together. What were their sources of inspiration? What were their worst fears? What were they thinking? And how do we even know about them? Well, what we do know, most people agree, that being able to compose music is based on two things: talent and hard work. Some of you may be fascinated by the anecdotes I'm going to share. Some of you may be just interested in hearing me play the piano. Others may be very interested in the nuts and bolts. What is music about and how do you make compositional choices? And some of you may be really turned on by the second half of the program, where we actually are going to be in collaborative teams getting ready to make a piece together. And I want to stress this: whatever you get out of this, I hope you have a good time. And whatever you get is just fine. Don't worry about terminology, don't worry about concepts, just be here. Because one of the keys to creativity is being open and being very present. And if you're on automatic pilot or you're guided by what you think you should be doing, it will be eliminating your connection to your own imagination. So that's my only big advice. I think we're going to begin just with a little bit of terminology. And once again, I'm going to do this fairly quickly at the piano. And this is not to give you the encyclopedia of music in 3 minutes. But it is about telling you what it is that composers think about. Composition is not for sissies. Composition involves making choices and making decisions and being ready to be wrong and ready to be silly and ready to fail until you actually come up with the piece that you have in mind. And what are the things that composers enjoy playing with? Well, first of all, this harmony. Harmony is the sound of two or more pitches played at the same time. These are fifths. Why are they fifths? Because they're 5 notes apart. And the ancient Greeks actually used this as a form of psychotherapy to try to relax people rather than pop a Valium. They popped a perfect fifth. Say what? Now, conversely, we have something from medieval time that was called the devil's interval, which is called a tritone. And there are 3 steps between 2 pitches. And if you had a day full of, it would be very unfortunate. It's the most dissonant or unstable interval. And interestingly enough, if we put them together, we have what we call a diminished chord. And if you've heard of Carols of Pauline, I can't pay the rent, you must pay the rent, I'll pay the rent, my hero. So composers enjoy playing with edge and release, tension and relaxation, and what it does to us viscerally, and also what it suggests to our imagination. Okay, so we talked a little bit about consonance and dissonance, and we are now going to talk a little bit about texture. How many things are going on at the same time? Now, I'm going to talk to this table right here, and what I'd like you to do is just do exactly what I do, okay? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Okay, great. Now, will you remember this? Thanks. And here's Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. Keep it up, Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry. Okay, wait. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? That's it. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? One more time. Sleigh bells ring. Can I have the Christmas people? 1, 2, ready, go. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. Happy. Okay, terrific. All right, so you already saw that we had a piece in motion. And the texture of this piece was that we had 3 events going on at the same time, and they all had equal importance. And this is called polyphony, which means multiple voices at the same time. Very different than if we all said, I'll say it together, silent night. Say it. Silent night. Again. Silent night. Let's see if we can all sing the same note somehow. Terrific. Now, this was just one event, even though we could have had the Mormon Tabernacle Choir doing it, but it's only one event. So composers need to decide how many events are going on, and what if we have a melody and we want to give it some background. Well, a terrible pianist will play like this, because the background is drowning out the foreground. So that's a third kind of texture that we can have, and composers decide about these things. Now, what about a melody? Some melodies are just beautiful, even when we hear them alone. Mozart, such a gifted melodist, can't sing and play at the same time. But here's how it sounds with the background. Some melodies don't do well on their own without a background. Start putting the chords with them, right? And look how the melody takes off, really comes to light. Back the knife, Kurt Weill. Well, composers also decide about form. How long should the piece be? And should it have sections that start and stop, or should it just flow from one moment to another? And they also have to decide about orchestration, and very much they have to decide about rhythm. Now, rhythm is one of my primary areas of love and passion, which is why I just taught a course on that. And when we're making a piece, we're thinking about, I want you to get your feet going, and I want you to say, 1, 1, 1, 1. So we could have, keep it up. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So we have 2 beats in a measure, yeah? And keep the pace going. And just actually tell me where you think 1 is. There. And we're in 3 now, yeah? And so forth and so on, and we could be in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or we could be in something just keeping changing meter. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, So, oh, and then we could do syncopation, that's an unexpected accent. Where's one? Where's one? You can't find it easily because my left hand forgot to play. Now, where is it now? Right? One, one, one. Yeah? So Scott Joplin is playing with syncopated melody and a very regular left hand. Well, I could go on and on and on, but I won't. What I'm going to do instead is to move forward now to show you something about what we call the language of music, or the composer's language. Why do different composers sound different from different periods of time and different countries and different styles of music? Well, I put this together yesterday. I'm not a procrastinator. Au contraire. But I get my ideas under pressure. And quite honestly, for me, this workshop in creativity, I challenge myself to be creative. I do not repeat myself. I write something on a script, but I will write a new piece or new pieces for each presentation and come up with a different workshop. Because if I did it before, how would it be creative? So I am risking failing, and now I'm risking hitting some wrong notes since I wrote this out at 10 p.m. But I suffice to say, I think I'll make my point, and that will be worth the risk I'm taking. So this is to show you various compositional choices in terms of a composer's language. We have Happy Birthday. Everybody knows Happy Birthday. It's not a bad song. Well, if I lived around 1680, I might want to write one melody against another. So the right hand would have this, but the left hand would have... kind of a 1680 language. If Bach was having a bad day on a bad birthday, that might not be happy major, but it might be minor. And this is what it would sound like in minor. If we were around the time of Mozart and we were feeling kind of happy, well, what kind of language is that? Well, you've heard of this before. This is called an Alberti bass. Alberti was actually a man, a composer, and it takes a chord and it breaks it up. And Mozart wrote really pretty melodies, and he liked to put little ribbons on them, little embellishments, little trills. So this is what somebody in that period of time might have done with Happy Birthday based on their language. More trills. Jump a few centuries now. There was a Schoenberg who liked to dispense with tonality completely and make sure that every pitch that came was not the same as the pitches that had come before. And you might get this. Now, what if Happy Birthday birthday is about a beautiful girl on a beach. Sounds good to me. So they're all happy birthday, they all have integrity, and they are all using different musical choices. And so that should give you hopefully a little bit of insight. Well, what I'd like to do now is actually play some, I think what I'll do is I'll give you a feeling about the person, and then I'm going to play a musical excerpt live and give you a kind of a window into what I think is salient, the essence of the piece. Not necessarily what the composer was trying to do, but what the piece ends up doing, okay? So this was research that I did, which I enjoyed very much. How do we know about people? Well, in the 20th century, many composers write about themselves, but people didn't write so much about themselves in the 1600s. So we have eyewitness, and we have what other people said. And this is what people said about Bach. Bach, who when asked how he composed so well, is said to have responded, "I have had to work hard. Anyone who works just as hard will get just as far." In response to compliments on his organ playing, he said, "There's nothing remarkable about it. All one has to do is hit the right notes at the right times, and the instrument plays itself." Raise your hand if you've had that experience. Yeah, sure. Okay, so as a teacher, Bach would give his students bass lines and ask them to create first the soprano, then the alto, and then the tenor part. And he did not let them compose until their pieces met his rigorous standards of perfection. He insisted that no part break off before it said entirely what it had to say, and that every note was required to have a connection with the one preceding it, and if it did not, it was banished as being suspicious. And this is an important point, so remember this one because we'll be referring back to it. Bach also insisted that his students compose entirely from the mind, away from the instrument. Those who wished to do otherwise he called in ridicule knights of the keyboard. Just hold that. So in Bach we see modesty, we see craft, we see a love of God, we see working under amazing deadline pressures of 2 or 3 church gigs a week and new material written. How did he do it? How did he create the score and the parts? Because you could have all of these ideas, but you've got to write it down on paper. Well, the answer is his third wife, Anna Magdalena, was a very good copyist, and he had 20 children. So I'm thinking that late at night we're not playing video games. We're out there copying music, and so it's good to have a big family if you're a composer. Now, what I'd like you to do is this is a right hand, left hand exercise, and Bach liked to play with counterpoint or polyphony, which is one melody against another. So raise your right hand if you think my right hand is important, and raise your left hand if you think my left hand is important. I'll play it kind of slowly. So which hand is that? All right, here we go. All right, okay, I'll go even slower. Right. Left. Yeah. shows masterful craft. But I do want to point out something, and please don't take this as criticism of Bach, because I don't have anything critical to say about Bach. But would you, in the shower, are you la da 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 da? I don't think so. Because Bach's melodies are not written to be supposedly beautiful and simple and memorable, and sometimes you can't even find a place to take a breath. They're written very much like math, as a very interesting answer to a puzzle. What material, if I turned it upside down, or I had it backwards, or I had it going against another melody, would work? So that is the aesthetic and the criterion. And I'm just going to point this out to you, that when you listen to music, you might want to ask yourself, what is the composer trying to do? Now, these are certain things that composers can try to do. Composers can try to tell you a story of something happening, like the Berlioz Symphony Fantastique. They can try to represent an image, like a Mussorgsky pictures at an exhibition. They can try to create mood and emotion, and so much of film music does that. There's so many things that music can try to do. So even if you're not liking the piece, ask yourself what's going on, and at least you'll have at least a somewhat engaged experience in that way. Now I'm about to play something now by Brahms, and this is another exercise. And remember when I said composers like playing with tension and release and stability? Well, I want you to put your hands kind of over here, just like this. And let's say it's kind of by your heart, and let's say this is when you think that the piece is stable. You want to come down here, and the more unstable it is, I want to see your hands go up, okay? This is by Brahms, Opus 76. If I walk out now and I'm stopping, are you happy? No. That's pretty tense. I mean, I'm pretty relaxed, but this music is pretty tense. Is that it's not stable, and you don't feel that you know where home is until the very last chord, which is kind of just a brilliant phenomenon that somebody could do that. And it's the pleasure of stretching tension. So that would be it. And for me, when I play this piece, I think of, I've been to remote areas of Alaska, and I just think of starting in the woods where you don't have a clue as to where you are, and finally somebody leads you out, and finally, you find a place of safety. So it's kind of what that feels like to me. Well, Brahms recalls a story about Beethoven, and I love this, and I like to call this is my own little name for it, Beethoven and Chutzpah. And for those of you who didn't celebrate Hanukkah, chutzpah, well, everyone knows what chutzpah is, but it means nerves. You've got a lot of chutzpah. I mean, but it could be good if you want to have chutzpah, but it could also be like, it's got a lot of chutzpah, asking me to blah, 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 blah. So, this is Beethoven. Brahms says, Beethoven was always my guiding star. The few words of which we have records as to how he was inspired by the Creator himself have been of incalculable aid to me. When I was a boy, I studied the violin. This is actually a friend of Brahms talking now, named Joachim. And Joachim was friendly with a violinist who played in Beethoven's orchestra. So the story is that the concertmaster of Beethoven's orchestra complained to Beethoven that a certain passage was so badly written for the left hand that it was unplayable. Whereupon Beethoven shrieked at him, "When I composed that passage, I was conscious of being inspired by God Almighty. Do you think I can consider your puny little fiddle when He speaks to me?" Interestingly enough, composers have to be strong, and well, we'll meet Mr. Piazzolla in just about 2 minutes. And Mr. Piazzolla was known to say that composers should know a form of self-defense because it will come in useful. My next musical example is one about rhythm, and what I want you to do is just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And here, the 1 should be really loud. And while I'm playing, I want you to notice what's happening in the music, okay? Just notice this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fascinating. Do what he's done and is succeeding. Fascinating rhythm, you've got me all aglow, fascinating rhythm. The phrase keeps coming on the 4th beat rather than the downbeat, so you feel like your universe is getting turned around. And just when you're getting seasick, he stabilizes. I'll show you. So. That's a composer I'd like to do. My last example for you in terms of anecdotes is the one that I guess maybe I feel has a lesson in it. And this is about Astor Piazzolla, who comes from Argentina, died in 1992. He played an instrument called the bandoneon, and he wrote music that came out of the tango spirit of Argentina. Now, he also studied classical music, and like many other composers of the day, he went to Nadia Boulanger. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she was a very important teacher in Paris. She was clearly a woman. She clearly taught many of the composers of the important century, and including Aaron Copland, for example. And Piazzolla went to study with her. And he brings in a suitcase full of music, and she looks at it and she says, sounds like Mozart, sounds like Stravinsky, sounds like Bach, sounds like Bartok. Where is Astor Piazzolla? She said, well, Astor, tell me, what do you do as a musician? He thinks, well, I play in a low-life place. It plays tango in places that are not exactly concert halls, and he doesn't want to tell her. And he finally confesses, and she says, well, all right then, do you write tango? And he says, yeah, okay. Play me a tango. And she says, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then she says, here is Astor Piazzolla. Let us never lose him again. And he says that that was probably the most important day of his life, other than when his father gave him his first instrument. So part of being a composer is owning one's identity. Gershwin went to Ravel and said, I'd like to study with you. And Ravel said, what? You could become a second-rate Ravel. Why don't you just become a first-rate Gershwin? So I think that's really very important information. I'll play you just a short piece now by Piazzolla, and it's called it's a milonga, and the milonga goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And what I like to emphasize is, yes, that is integral to the music, but I think something else arises, which is the beauty of the melody, the beauty of the harmony, and the actual sentiment of the piece in the context of being a rhythmic piece. Because it gives me a joy that moves me when I play it, and then I think, oh God, these people have never heard it. So that is not a nice thing to be able to spread the good word. Okay, now I'm going to do something which, as I call, the magic trick. And this is a little bit scary, meaning I'm on the line, and you look like someone I can trust. Now, when I have it here, what's your name? Jeannie. You look really nice and trustworthy. And you have good karma, too. And I think you're going to help me do well, I hope. I hope so. Okay, so, yeah, so what's in here is the letters C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, all the notes that are on the piano or that exist as pitches. And then there's something called wild card. Now, you're gonna pick 5, gonna shuffle it up a little bit, and 5, and my assistant Angelique, who is out here, who is a wonderful clarinetist and composer and conductor, and I hope she does well with the camera too. Tell them the truth, Angelique. Did you check these cards, and are they what I say they are? This is not a fixed trick, right?
It is not a fixed trip.
And if nothing else, Angelique is very honest. So yeah, you can count on. So would you please pick 5 for me, and just call them out when you pick them.
sharp.
Okay, wait. So D sharp, D sharp. Okay. Oh man, D sharp. Okay, another D sharp. G. Okay, we have two more. B. B. And one more. It's a wild card? Yes. Thank you. That's good. That's good. I'm not too. Okay. So, okay. The point of my doing this, other than to cause myself a lot of stress in front of the public, is to create musical material from what I'm given. When you're given, lemon, you make lemonade, blah 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 blah. So I'm not gonna really. I could tell you sort of how I do it, but I really do it intuitively. But then I also do it analytically. I'm going to try to do it intuitively first, and then I'm going to do something analytic, so you can see the creative process of working with both sides of the brain. Okay. So first, I have to just get friendly with the material. Oh, not so bad. Okay. So it immediately makes this augmented chord, which I like. Okay, and that was my wild chord. I just went to an F sharp. Ah, hey. Oh, hoo, hoo, yeah. So, G, F sharp. So that's what I'm going to play with. I like the chord button. I got lucky with you. Sometimes I don't get so lucky, and that's a little embarrassing. But so you can see what I did was I just looked and I waited till something. I looked at it and I was looking analytically. I can look and I can see how to fit them all into one thing. I can also then my imagination just jumped when I hit another note, and I thought, and then I just like playing this kind of like Eastern European sounding music, so there it was. I didn't have to look for it too far. How are we doing? We are, okay, then I have done enough. It is now up to you and the rest. So here's what's going to happen. You have your pieces of paper, and this is the part where we make a piece together. And we're probably not going to make a piece, but we're going to workshop material so you can see how things can come together. And each of you, there's something called writing prompts. And I want you to write 2 sentences, just picking one of these words, joy, together we, light, or peace. Just 2 sentences, and the only thing that I'd like them to be is to be authentic. Please don't make it sound like a Hallmark card that I've read 100 times. And so make sure that it's you. And if you felt like you could be a little poetic, a little metaphorical, that would be nice, other than peace on earth, goodwill to men, I love you, everyone. So if you can, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And for just one, pick one. 2 sentences and go. Go, go, go. doing that, I'm going to play some music that might get you in a suggestive mood of what this piece is going to come together to be. Now you're going to do something with your team. Your team is, in fact, the members of your table. Now, here you have your pieces of paper, text for group piece. Forget the John Lennon. I put it in, but number one possibility is all things are bound together, all things connect. Number two is possible. Invisible threads are the strongest ties. Number three, the heart is the secret inside the secret. Number four, every moment is made glorious by the light of love. I found these yesterday. I was looking for some place of connection. It was my mother's birthday, and she passed fairly recently, and I'm feeling pretty bad about things. And I thought, well, I want to put things together for this group, and I was looking for poetry, and this is what jumped out at me in terms of finding something that actually, it filled my soul. Yeah, sorry, Mom. Anyway, so here's what you need to do. And I'm going to say this really slowly, and if you have questions, it's okay. And it's all right if you also do it wrong, because we're creative here, and creative makes the right out of wrong, or something like that. Okay, you want to find a group leader. The group leader is somebody that has a fairly okay sense of rhythm. Now, the group needs, this is called ordering out. Anyway, so that person is going to do that. Now, the group needs to, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this, you're going to have a consensus about saying this text together. I'm going to give you an example with this group over here using this John Lennon. I would say, and the world will live as one, and you repeat, and the world will live as one. So the leader is going to say one phrase in a certain rhythm, and you're going to parrot it back, okay? That's step one, and then you're 50% there. Step two is to find, this is a compositional technique, which I learned in graduate school called fragmentation. You're going to take just one part of this line, live as one, and you're going to be able to repeat that as a little bit as a soft whispered chant. And he's going to do it first. Live as one, live as one, live as one, live as one. So this is what it would look like. And the world will live as one. No. So first we do the entire line. And the world will live as one. And the world will live as one. Everybody do this. Live as one. Live as one. And the leader will cut you off. Okay, everybody got it? All right, I'm going back to my Christmas music. I'll see you in 2 minutes. Whoa, okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, okay. Ready? No. Okay, so you need you can, that's it. You prepare those two things. You prepare one line, the whole line, and that line is a fragment. And the leader leads you.
Is it what we wrote?
Okay? All right.
Who has written?
Yes. You must do one of these. Okay, so who's the leader? Who's the leader here? Who's the leader? Jen, okay, gotta go quick. Gotta go quickly. So pick one of these lines. Yes, yes. Which one?
Oh, sure.
Okay, there's the heart and the secret.
So this invisible threads are the strongest ties.
The heart is the secret inside us. Okay. So say it.
The invisible threads are the strongest ties.
Now, okay, so you want to reverse that, and then you want to find just part of that line. And repeat that. Okay? How's this okay? How are you doing? Here. Who's the leader? Okay, what's the line?
Invisible threads are the strongest ties.
So, and what is the fragment? And we reverse it. Okay.
First I repeat the whole sentence. I say every sentence and repeat it. And then I identify what is the strongest tie. So I think so. Why don't you just do what I'm doing?
All right. Okay, go. Let me hear what you said so far.
Invisible threads are the strongest ties.
I don't think we feel that strong.
Okay, now you need a fragment.
Before I tell you the story.
Ours is the wild one.
Okay, one more minute. One more minute. Doing okay? Yeah. Okay. Good. Everybody okay? Yeah. Okay.
I know you do. You got it.
Okay, so we're going to find. Okay, folks. There we go. So what we're going to do now is we probably will hear from at least half the table so that you can get a sense of what this is, and this gives you a sense of working under pressure, needing to collaborate, and not being sure about directions. And also and there's no money at the end of this deal either. It's like, who thought this would be fun? So, okay, I'd like this group to start.
Joy in the world with peace, with peace. Joy in the world with peace, with peace. And the light shone through with peace. And the light shone through with peace.
Very nice. Joy in the world with peace. Who's joy in the world? Okay, now sometimes they improvise. Sometimes creative people will lot of times creative people break the rules. And you know, I mean, sometimes their creativity is just kind of never mind, an excuse for breaking the rules. And you were supposed to pick one of the pre-designated phrases. However, sometimes auspicious accidents happen. And let us call this an auspicious accident. And what I'm not going to do is I'm going to add in another factor. I'm going to have you, I'm going to play something, I'm going to play two pieces of music against this, because I want you to see what juxtaposition does, okay? So I'll follow you. So you're going to do this again. Ready? Go.
Joy in the world with peace, joy in the world with peace, and the light shone through with peace, light shone through with peace.
Now, it's very easy for me because, yeah, I got, that worked, right? Yeah. I got their rhythmic feel, and I just said, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to make an arbitrary choice now. I'm not going to even, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. One more time.
Joy in the world with peace, joy in the world with peace, and the light shone through with peace, and the light shone through with peace.
Which, raise your hand if you like one better. Raise your hand if you like two better. Now this, for me, shows, okay, I got what I came here for today. Thank you. Which, no, I did. I mean, I'm having a really good time. But I got what I came here for because I would have never picked that. I'm playing in a different, they're in 4, I'm playing in 3. And like, really? And that fits? But accidents will happen. And to let them happen, you have to get out of the box. You have to just try things that might not work, but that might work. Okay, let's look at this group here. Oh, you follow the rules. Then you're the non-creative group. Okay. Let's hear what you did. Okay.
Invisible threads are the strongest ties.
Invisible threads are the strongest ties. The strongest ties. The strongest ties. The strongest ties.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, okay, good. Now I'm gonna play 2 choices of music and we'll see what we like. And start.
Invisible threads are the strongest ties.
Invisible
Threads are the strongest ties.
strongest ties. Strongest ties. The strongest ties.
Okay, and let me try another one. 1, 2, ready, go.
Invisible threads are the strongest ties. Strongest threads are the strongest ties. Strongest ties. Strongest ties.
Yeah, a little bit. So we're like meditative a little bit more than jingle bells. That's kind of what I'm getting. Okay, let's go here to this group. Oh, I'm sorry. I got distracted. I didn't get a clear start. Who's the leader? Oh, Robert here. So you should. Theoretically.
All things are together. All things connect. All things bound together. All things connect.
Okay, and where's the fragment? Oh, all things connect. Yeah, I get it. Okay. This is good. Okay, so I used to teach at Lincoln Center, and this is the Lincoln Center way of doing the things. It's called experiential learning, where you work on teams, and in addition to getting information about music, the only way that you really encounter music is by making choices. Now, what I'd like to do is to have just 4 people come up who would be willing to read the personal texts that they wrote. And I can't go home till this is finished. So. Don't leave me in the lurch. Good. And I need three more. Two more. And we have two more. Great, thank you. And so, great. This is great. So here's what I'd like to do. We'll begin here.
Together we do more than exist. Together we live and thrive.
Hold the mic right up.
Together we can conquer all. Apart we will struggle and fail.
Joy and
Joy and togetherness share the light for understanding. Understanding brings peace for those who share togetherness.
We are interconnected with the universe, and all is intelligence and energy.
Beautiful. Okay, so please stay here. Now, the rest of you can stay at your tables, but here's what we're going to do. See, on your, you need your papers, two stanzas. Love came down at Christmas, and I heard the bells on Christmas Day. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to do the first line, love came down at Christmas. You're going to answer me, love all lovely, love divine. I'll say love was born at Christmas, and you say stars and angels gave the sign. Then we're going to have the soloists, and then we're going to return to the group, big group. Love came down at Christmas.
Love, lovely, love divine.
Love was born at Christmas.
Stars and angels gave the sign.
And then we go, and there will be music accompanying you here. And then when that is finished, I heard the bells on Christmas Day.
Their old familiar carols play.
And wild and sweet the words repeat.
A peace on earth, goodwill to men.
And then I'm going to play Gloria. And if you can, you want to sing or hum, you can. If not, you can just enjoy the group. Now, so we will have made a piece. Now, pieces need strong beginnings and strong endings, which is why I chose the text, but I wanted something very personal and creative in the center of the piece, in the donut. So that's our concept. Okay. Here we go. On my key for Gloria, I start on a C. Okay, fine. I want you screeching up there. Okay. Here's our beginning. I start. Love came down at Christmas.
Love, oh lovely, love divine.
Love was born at Christmas.
Stars and angels gave the sign.
Together we do more than exist. Together we live and thrive.
Together we can conquer all. Apart we will struggle and fail.
Joy and togetherness share the light for understanding. Understanding brings peace for those who share togetherness.
We are interconnected to the universe, and all is intelligence and energy.
I heard the bells on Christmas Day.
Old familiar carols play.
Wild and sweet, the words repeat.
Peace on earth, goodwill to men.
In excelsis Deo. In excelsis Yes, what time is it, Helen? 1:35. Well, I'm going to do something which will take 4 minutes. Is that okay? 4 minutes? Yeah, so I thought what I'd do is I'd just play the original piece that I wrote for this presentation, which was a piece about how to write a piece in 3 hours. And I did exactly write a piece. I wrote the outline of it in 3 hours. And Angelique, I'm just going to ask you to turn one page so I don't screw this up, if you feel like the camera's okay by itself. And yeah, so I wrote the outline of this in just a really short time, in 4 hours, and then I made it into piano and flute, and then I made it back to solo piano. And it's called a chango because it's a cross between a tango and a Brazilian choro. And it's upbeat, and it doesn't have anything to do with Christmas or Hanukkah. So there you go.
Is it like what you did for Cecilia?
Yes, it's the very same piece. And it is, in fact, the same piece.